Welcome back to the Thinking Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Coach Emery, aka Emery McMillan, and today I have with me an incredible guest. Her name is Nikki, aka the real Boho Mofo. I'm going to let her introduce herself and explain that name, and then we're going to dive right in.
Hey everybody, the real Boho Mofo is a name I came up with about maybe a year and a half ago on a journey where I wanted to find myself. And once I figured out what I liked, I realized that I'm a Bohemian girl. So I like a lot of Bohemian style, Bohemian stuff. And so Boho is short for Bohemian. And then of course, Mofo is short for MFer. We all know the curse word there. So that's pretty much it.
Nice. Now, when you said on the journey to finding yourself, now what made you lean towards that kind of style? Like, what was it in your spirit or energy that made you realize that fit you?
The main thing for me was freedom because I have felt imprisoned my whole life. And that was the style to me that portrayed like everything that was free. You could do what you want, you could think what you want, you could wear what you want, and it's kind of like just a carefree style. So with me having lived the majority of my life feeling like I was trapped, I wanted to be free, and so I guess I just gravitated to that style.
Gotcha. Now, when you said trap, like, can you give a little bit of the context of how, without going too personal, if you don't mind, just like what kind of trap did you feel, and what ways could people maybe relate to that?
Just ever since I was a child, just being under a certain set of expectations to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to talk a certain way, to even study a certain way, and what you were going to become when you got older. There was an expectation there. And there was no part of my life that I can remember where I was just allowed to think freely, speak freely, or make my own decisions ever. And that
Gotcha.
went all the way until I was well into adulthood.
Now, what changed for you with that? Like, how did you break that cycle in your life?
You know, the sad story about that is I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather passed away in 2000. And he was like my favorite person on earth. But my grandmother just passed away about a year and a half ago. And she was kind of like that one of the two parents that was like, everything was like whatever she said.
Right.
And so the sad part about it, I loved her for raising me with all my heart. But when she passed away, I felt free because even as a 40-year-old, even as a 30-something-year-old going to her house, I was still the child that was under that set of expectations. Oh, why is your hair like that? And why, oh, what do you have on? And oh, I don't like those nails. It was like I never could be myself around her, even no matter how many children I had, no matter if I was married, no matter if, what accomplishments I had achieved. There were that same set of expectations that anytime I was around her, boom, I was that 10-year-old. I was that 12-year-old again.
Right. Now, do you feel like that kind of played a role in like relationships as well? Like that kind of like behavior, and not behavior, but that kind of I guess that habitual thinking of like I belong to you, or the way I am is controlled by what people think.
Oh my gosh. Unfortunately and absolutely. And I was married twice in the past, and I married people I didn't even love because I was under a set of expectations that I was just supposed to be married, or this person proposed to me so I was supposed to say yes. So I made a lot of relationship mistakes based on the notion of I'm supposed to do this as opposed to what I actually felt, or
Right.
what I actually wanted to do.
Gotcha. Now that puts in context. So you made a post recently, and I know you had to go and even explain what you meant in that post,
Yeah.
about no spend a night bag, and no boyfriend, and things like that. And with you putting this in context, it makes all of that make sense, because that's another parameter kind of thing. That's another limitation kind of thing. So when you put that post up, a lot of people probably didn't understand the magnitude of how important that was to you. But
Yes.
when you sent it to me, it made complete sense. And then the video, I didn't even need the video, but the video just broke it down in your own words, and I
Right.
got it. I'm like, you know what? There's more to this. There's more to this situation. There's more to this story. And I feel like more people need to hear exactly what you just said. Like, being in situations where just because it felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. I did it. You know, a lot of people probably don't like the term, you know, those same terms. They won't ever say it because they feel like, okay, this is the popular norm. This is what people
Yeah.
are doing. So we're just going to go with this because if I don't, I won't have a guy, or I won't have a girl, or I won't have the one that I like, even though they don't like you the way you like them back. So, like you said, and it's pretty interesting how you put it too, because it wasn't like, listen, we can't go nowhere unless you're my husband. You said, I'm willing to cohabitate, but we have to have some kind of established understanding that this is what we're doing and this is what we're building towards. I'm not going to be spend a night bag for 5 years.
There it
And that was
is.
dope that you put it that way, because a lot of people don't think, like, they think, okay, spin a night bag, then I get the ring, or spin a night
Right.
bag and then they're going to pick me. And that's
Right.
really not, you know, once there's an old phrase, and I hate this phrase because it's like I hate the cow thing, but like, why buy the cow if you get the milk for free kind of thing. But
Right.
I look at it as a concept, like, listen, you fish with the bait that you plan to use forever. And if you give yourself, and this is in business, this is in work, this is in life, this is with anything, if you give the prize away right away, what are they really working for now? You know, what are they building for? What are you expanding on at that point? And if this is what they're talking about, spending the night and all these things right off the muscle, they're already
Hmm.
showing you what they value as the prize.
Exactly.
You know, so if that's the prize, and you know, and you gave it away, now it's like, okay, what exactly am I value? What's my value now?
Right.
What am I withholding now? And so I get that when you posted it, and it was just interesting because I was seeing like the varying forms of responses, and I'm like, but they're not listening to what is being said here. And so
Right.
it was dope and it was deep. And I'm glad that you expanded upon that, because there's context behind it. There's context behind what you personally went through, and there's context behind a lot of what other people have went through, which is probably very similar. And they didn't take the route of, you know, let me find myself, let me become the real Boho Mofo, let me be who I am and let me be free. And
Right.
so I think that was really, really dope. That's dope. Wow, that's crazy. That's it puts it in a whole different perspective and a whole different twist, because again, it's like you've been there, you've been in that space. And a lot of people don't realize, like, everything that comes out of somebody's mouth either comes from an experience, or it comes from, you know, a fear, you know, of something
Right.
that they've done. So it's like you've obviously had that experience before. So, you know, why allow it, and why people let people think that that's what they can come at you with. So that's cool.
Exactly.
I like that. That's dope. So now I'm seeing right here, like, you got tons of tattoos. Now,
I
did you
do.
have them all beforehand, or did you get them once you became free and found yourself?
I did get them over. I've been getting tattoos probably since I turned about 21. So and they're very spread apart. So I probably
Mhm.
got one every 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So the only ones that I've gotten recently is the sleeve.
Mhm.
And so this one is definitely part of the I'm going to do what I want to do journey, because I would have never put something on my arms. Like, you know,
Right.
God forbid I put, I cover myself with this. So this was part of me saying, you know what? I always loved how sleeves look.
Yeah.
I want a sleeve. And I actually want two sleeves. It's just that, like I said, I get one and then I wait a long time. But yeah, so it's definitely the ones that you see out here and up here that are
Mhm.
visible are a part of the freedom journey. Yes.
Right. And the reason I asked that question is because a lot of people typically they tattoo themselves and associate it with like a pain or an incident. But
Hmm.
yours, especially the one on the sleeve that I can see right here, it doesn't look like a pain thing. It looks like you said, it looks like a freedom. And that's why I asked that question, because it looks like it represents a freedom. It represents a new beginning of, like, listen, I found what I'm looking for in me. I'm good.
Yes.
And so that's why I asked that question.
Hmm.
That's really, really dope. So now, the Bohemian Style. How long did you research that before you knew, like, this fits me perfectly? Like, what drew you to it originally? Like, aside from the freedom.
I have always kind of side eyed it. So it wasn't like I just figured it out after I became free. It was more like, I wish I could wear that.
Hmm.
I wish I could wear that. It was, to me, it was unreachable. It was something like, wow, she looks really pretty and really free and really happy. And I want to look like that. Like, I want to wear those flowy skirts and all the bracelets. And, I want to do that stuff. And it was not acceptable. It was not an acceptable look. It wasn't polished. It wasn't. professional, and it wasn't what I was expected to look like. And
Right.
so it just was like a dream for me. And so on my journey, I actually ended up getting my lip pierced too in the middle. So I had a ring around my bottom lip, but I didn't like the way the guy pierced it. He pierced it too low. So I took that out. So it was like when I got the piercing, that's when I started like accumulating all my crochet pieces and looking for, like, literally searching for crochet tops, crochet dresses, flowy skirts. I would go to multicultural festivals and buy the bracelets, and um, reintroduced my bald head, because I've had a bald head since 2008, but I covered it up with wigs. So I
Okay.
did what I wanted to do, but when I went outside of my house, I had made sure to have a wig on so I didn't offend anybody or upset anybody with my hair choice. So that's kind of like how it all came about. It was like I always really liked it, but it was just unattainable to me.
Right. That is dope. That's very, very dope. So it's like you said, it was like a dream, and then when you found yourself, you were able to make that dream a lifestyle. It's almost like a rebranding, like
Right.
kind of like a phoenix rising thing. That's
Yes.
really, really dope. That's really
Yeah.
dope. Now you mentioned the hair. You said 2008. Now that was a choice thing.
It was my own personal choice. It wasn't a happy choice. It was
Hmm.
a stressed out, anxiety, depression, Britney Spears breakdown. And I was pregnant with my now 11-year-old daughter. And I just literally had a breakdown and shaved my head.
Hmm.
I didn't want hair. I wanted to be free. And for some reason, like, shaving my head makes me feel free.
Yes.
So I've let it grow back a couple of times, maybe about to the shoulders, and then I'll shave it again, like when I want to feel free. But yeah, so during that time in 2008, I just felt overwhelmed. I was married to someone I knew I didn't want to be married to from the beginning. The marriage was not good. I was on my second child with this person, and I just had a breakdown, shaved my head, and hated it. But it still made me feel good. I didn't like
Hmm.
how it looked because I didn't like myself
Yeah.
at the time. But it still somehow inside made me feel good. So
Right.
yeah.
So when did you fully embrace, like, because I know you said that when you would leave out, you would cover it up and things like that. When did you say, you know what, I'm good with me, and this is who I am. Like, I'm not covering this up, and I'm gonna embody this. Like, this is gonna be part of my who I am. Like, when did you stop covering it up, and when did you become to realize how dope that was?
That was a process for me. That was a process because there were days where I felt brave enough. And so I would go out and I would get tons of compliments. But 2 or 3 days later, I just lost the confidence and I didn't have it. So it was just a process of building up the confidence to consistently wear it, be proud of it, be proud of myself, and then use the wigs just when I felt like having hair, not because I felt like I needed to have hair.
Right.
So I would say probably about this whole transition happened about a year and a half ago when I moved from the Bay Area to Modesto and my grandma passed away. So it all kind of happened around that same time. And that was when there was no one to say to me, why are you doing that? Why do you look like that? And I had moved with a family member, and that family member was one of the ones that felt a lot like me growing up. And so he was this is my uncle, which I call my brother since I was
Hmm.
raised with him under my grandmother. He's more like a brother.
Yeah.
He was very um, supportive of any and everything I wanted to do. He would just be like, if you want to pierce your lip, why are you sitting here? Go to the piercer shop, like go.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I can't. And he's like, girl, why can't you? Who's stopping you? Like, what? Okay, so, or he'd be like, I actually like your hair better short. Like, why don't you just wear your hair, or you look prettier like this, or like your own self. And I would just, and him saying those things to me over the year that I stayed with him before I moved, it really, really helped me to just accept that it was okay to be me,
Yeah.
whatever that meant and
Wow.
whatever I wanted to do.
Now, how was that, like, how that had to be like a life changing experience to have somebody not really condoning, because you didn't need condoning, but you just needed somebody to say, you know what, it's okay to think what you think, it's okay to feel what you feel. And that had to be amazing. Big shout out to big shout out to brother uncle.
Brother Pete.
Brother Pete.
Brother Pete.
I think that every story of transition starts out with you being daring enough to want it, and then there being like this person on the other end that's just like go, or even just an
Yeah.
experience that encourages you to just go. Um,
Yeah.
and I'll use Brother Pete as that'll be the reference point of that term. The Brother Pete's of the world, and they changed so much for us all, And I think that there's more people need to understand that it's okay to be who you are. It's not okay, actually. It's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. Like Smokey said, that's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to feel like, this is my life. This is who I am. I'm building a life that I can actually survive in. And interesting enough, because look at the time frame. You were saying like this is in your 30s. This is in your 30s, and you're feeling trapped. You're feeling stuck. You're feeling caged in a way that, you know, you're like, okay, am I going to be this way for the rest of my life? Am I going to feel boxed in for the rest of my life? I have to make some drastic changes, and I don't know how to do that, because my whole life I've been told that I'm supposed to, and fill in the blank after that, whatever that may be. You're supposed to be something, or supposed to do something, and be accountable to somebody else's version of who you are. And I think that
Yeah.
once you find yourself, you find your purpose as well.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to all of this, because this has been like the hardest part of my journey, and it's still there, and I don't think it's ever really going to go away, because it has to do with how other people see me. The hardest part of my journey um is that ever since I was as far back as I can remember, people have always looked at me as perfect. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what it is that I give off to other people that are like, oh my God, she's so perfect. Oh my God, she's so perfect. Oh my God. Yes, I got straight A's in school. Yes, I was smart. Yes, I was, I guess, the standard version of pretty, or, whatever. But I never asked for the label of perfect. I never wanted the label of perfect, because what happened to me, once that label was placed on me, I was expected to be that way. So anytime I made a mistake, anytime I, did anything that was outside of this box of what whoever decided was perfect, it it hit me so hard, because people came down on me really hard. And so even now, people will be like, oh my gosh, you're so perfect. You're so perfect. And it's like, I'm not. I have some thinning edges here. I just don't care. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Yeah, I messed my hair up, putting weaves on and glue and stuff, and I don't care. I'm still going to rock the short haircut. I have loose skin on my stomach, but I don't care. I'm still going to wear crop tops. If you see it, cool. If you don't, cool. You know what I'm saying? I have cellulite on my thighs. I don't care. But I used to care. I used to be
Right.
like, I can't wear shorts because I have cellulite on my thighs. I can't wear this because it's going to show my imperfections. And so I lived hiding everything that I felt like, or I felt other people were going to consider an imperfection in me. And that was so stressful. Like that put me into depression.
Wow.
And that's just not a cool thing. So I just really encourage everybody to like stop putting the label of perfect on other people and yourself, because no one is perfect. We've
Yeah.
established that no one and nothing is perfect. Everything has a flaw. So I see this a lot on social media, when people will be like, for example, I'll continue to speak on myself. When I first put my video out, oh, that's a filter. There's no way she doesn't look like that. And it's like, well, I didn't ask anyone to say I look younger than my age. So why are you trying to attack the fact that I'm supposed to be this gorgeous, perfect 41-year-old who only looks in her 20s? I didn't put that label on me.
Right.
Everyone else put that label. I just got dressed today and I just did my makeup today. That's all I did. But now I'm getting attacked because I chose to put a filter on or not put a filter on or whatever the case. And it's like everyone always looks for the worst when other people think, oh, she's perfect. Oh, she's so great. She's so this, so that. And it's okay to think somebody is whatever you think they are. But the
Yeah.
label of she's perfect, it puts expectations on a person that most of the time they don't want.
Right. And that's it's like interesting you say that, because the higher the altitude, the you know, the more impactful the fall is. Like if you, like you said, that pressure other people expecting you to be, it's one thing, like you said, to look at someone and feel like, oh wow, that's an ideal, or this is something I want to aspire to be like. Cool, have that admiration if you want,
Yeah,
but to hold them in that regard to the point where if they switch up, or if they make a change, or if they do something that feels out of context to that perfection that you've perceived, now, oh well, we got a problem because you know, she's not performing at the level I thought she was, or she's not being,
exactly.
and that's not fair. That's not fair to people, and it's not fair to the people who are watching, because what you're doing is you're creating a fake version of your own reality when it comes
Exactly.
to what you expect to look like or be like or feel like. And people just want to live. People just want to, you know, live. And I understand completely. You know, I had issues with, you know, physical appearance from people judging and things like that. You know, I'm a dark skinned guy. So until, you know, a certain point, being dark skin isn't cool. And it's like, okay, now you got to overcompensate here, overcompensate there. And that level of maneuvering through different functions and things like that, that puts pressure on people to just like, you know what, man, I don't even want to do it today.
Right.
I don't even have the energy to fight with y'all today or decide with y'all today. It's your perception of me. I'm competing against my own journey, then regular life issues. It's just so much that people have to compete against. It's not fair to put that pressure on anybody. So for me, I feel like, you know, be you, be who you are. Especially people in my circle. I don't allow people in my circle that can't be that. We be themselves. You know, if you can't be who you are, or feel how you feel, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that together, because if you're in my circle, I need you to be yourself. So that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into my next question for you. How did you know that you wanted to be in the forefront? You know, I look at you as a personality. So how did you know that you wanted to be on the scene? You know, in the forefront, and how did you know you had what it took to just be on that space?
That's a fun question. So I grew up singing. I'm not a Mariah Carey or anything like that. I'm more of a I'll say like an Aaliyah. I have like
Okay.
a soft and pretty kind of voice. And so as a kid, you know, I would escape by imagining I was the artist. And so I would go and I played by myself a lot because again, I was raised by grandparents, so there were no other children for me to play with. And so that was my escape. And then when I turned 19, I had created a demo tape, and somehow it got into the hands of some producers in LA, and they called me and they said, we want to sign you to our not record label, but it was like a entertainment company or something like that. And it was the same people that had done Rome. Do you remember that singer Rome? Okay, so
Yes.
it was them. So I drove down there with another girl that I was supposed to be in a group with, and and then they were going to add the third girl when we got out there. So once I got a taste of that life, I knew that was it for me. I tried college. I couldn't even barely figure out what to study in college because I was so uninterested in anything else. So what I
Yeah.
ended up studying was psychology with a minor in social science. And so that was only because I wanted to understand people more, and I
Yeah.
wanted to understand people's pain, because to me, that's what creates us all, is our pain more than anything. So I wanted
Yeah.
to understand like why people do what they do and stuff like that. But anything further than that, I was just like, college is not going to get me where I want to go, because there's nothing that they're offering in terms of a course that's going to help me in the area that I'm trying to go in. So I left that opportunity because of indecent proposals that were offered to me by the end of it all. And it was like, either you do this or you're done. And I was like, yes, I'm done, because I don't do that.
Right. Right. Right.
So I came back to the Bay Area. What do you need, Tristan? Okay, it's my daughter. I came
That's cool.
back to the Bay Area, um, and I continued to sing. I continued to get on like hooks of artist tracks and things like that. And I had a really, really popular MySpace page that blew up, and I was like, this is my thing. Like, this is where I feel good. And that's where I had been in search of my whole life. It was like, where can I go where I feel good? Because I don't feel good every day.
Right.
Every day, I don't feel good. So, whenever I find something that actually makes me feel good, I try to channel that. I try to stay with that. I try to stay on that path. And so, that was like the beginning for me in my 20s when I was doing the singing. And I just was like, it might not be singing, but I'm supposed to be out there. People
Yeah.
are supposed to know me. And I know all of this that I've gone through cannot be for me to die with, and no
Yeah.
one knows about it.
Wow.
So,
That wording right there hits home, man. It's so, that phrase, to die with it, like, man, that's crazy. So it's interesting. It's interesting because our paths are so similar. I used to be the guy who would make the songs and for the hooks. Like, I would be the guy to make the beats. So um I did that, and I was the guy. Oh man, yo, I want to have this song. I wouldn't be the one making the indecent proposals. Now that's not. But I would make music. I used to make music because it was just a relief for me. And then I would go on stage with some of the artists because I had did some of the hooks with them, and that feeling, like you said, that feeling of being up there, and it's almost just like putting on a cape. Like, you put on a cape, and that feeling is just like, wow, I
mhm.
love the way this feels. It's not even a cocky feeling. It's just a feeling of knowing, like, what I do is impacting someone in this way. And they're
Yeah.
feeling mesmerized by what I created, especially when it's from the soul. When you're creating art from the soul, there's no other feeling than that. So, there's nowhere to go, but like, you got to stay in a lane where you're able to communicate with people. You're able to be in that lane with people, and just bring them into your world so they can feel better, and you feel better by bringing them into that space. So that is dope. I didn't know that about you. That's dope.
Yeah. And another piece that I want to add to that, because this is also a big piece of it. No matter what I've done in my life, I've always drawn people. Like, they always want to know more about whatever, or they just want to talk to me, or they just want to be around me. So that was another piece that kind of made me go, hmm. And even like people that I've dated, they'll be like, everywhere we go, people act like you're a celebrity. And this was like when I wasn't even doing anything, you know? So it was just kind of like, I did notice that if I was a makeup artist at Sephora or MAC, people would be like, I want her to do my makeup, and they would wait in line when there were other artists available. They would wait in line for me because they wanted me. They wanted to talk to me. They wanted to, they were just drawn to me for whatever reason. When I was a driver for Uber, people would get in my car and just want to talk to me. Like, they would tell me all of their whole life, and I would be like, okay, but it's like, I noticed that people, no matter what I'm doing, people are just like, who is that?
Yeah.
I want to talk to her. I don't
It's
even
that
know why. And
energy.
people will come up to me and say, I don't know why I want to talk
Come
to you,
here,
but I just
Maya.
do. So,
There's an energy that you don't even feel. Like, we have so much. We're energy beings. We're energy beings, and it's like you said. It's incredible that you have. Like, have you always felt that? Like, have you always felt that level of just connectivity, almost like to just the people, and
oh,
it just.
I'm a very sensitive energy person. Like, I'm very much an energy person. Like, if as soon as I meet someone, I can be like, no, I'm not comfortable in here. I'll tell you a funny story real quick.
Okay.
So there's a place called the Winchester Mystery House, and it's in San Jose, California. It's like a tourist attraction, and there was a movie about it. So I went there one day, and they were doing a tour, but it was like an under construction tour. So there were certain rooms you couldn't go in. And so we were taken on a different tour than what they normally would take people on, because some of the rooms they would normally go in were
Yeah.
closed off. So they took us into this one room. This is how sensitive I am energy wise.
Mm.
I walked in and I instantly felt sick. Instantly. I was like, oh my gosh. And so everyone was piling in, and the person that was taking us on the tour was waiting for everyone to come in. And I turned to the guy and I go, I don't feel good in here. I was like,
Wow.
I feel lightheaded. I feel dizzy. I feel like I need to sit down. And he looked at me and he said, that's very interesting, because I was just going to explain, once everybody came in, that this is the most haunted room in the house. And I was
Wow.
like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to wait outside.
Yeah.
I don't need to see this room. I was like, because whatever happened in there, absolutely not. Another quick story. I went into a little shop. It was like a crystals, incense, and all that kind of stuff. And I got into a certain point in the store, and there was like this little cubby hole area where they had a bunch of different crystals and incense. And I was gonna go over there and look, but the way that it was set up, it was like a little cubby hole. So as soon as I walked over the threshold of that makeshift doorway, because there was no actual door, it was just open, I was like, I stepped in and then I stepped out, and then I stepped in and stepped out again. And I was like, I asked the person that worked out, I was like, excuse me, I was like, what's over here? And she was just like, I don't know, like, what do you mean? And I was like, something is over here and it's weird, like it's making me feel weird. And she goes, oh, this used to be a bank and that was the vault. I am like, I don't know anyone else personally who is as sensitive when it comes to energy as I am. Like, I literally have to like leave and get from around people, places, things, because I'm just like, whoa, that's too much.
Wow. I'm just saying, I'm not as intense as that. Like, I've recalled places that I just felt weird energy from, but I'm the same way, more so, like, I guess in like the opposite. So like, I'm very big on picking up. I'm a receptor of positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't care what level of life you're on. You could be like a super successful person. You could be, NBA player. You could be a doctor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your walk of life. I can pick up on your energy and I can resonate with that energy. And there are times that I've been in places that I was just like, yo, this doesn't feel, there's an uneasy feeling, but I never could pinpoint what it was. But I'm not definitely not that sensitive, but I'm very big on energy, very big on people's energies. And people are always like, how come you know so much about people without talking to them? And I'm like, because what you do and what the energy I feel is a language. Is a language that you speak. The book The Alchemist talks about the language of the language of the universe, and it's just like, I speak that. And I didn't know what that was. I thought it was crazy for a very long time. I used to tell my mother, like, I think I'm a superhero, Mom. And she's like, what are you talking about? But it was really because I could feel things that no one else felt, or see things that no one else could see. And I think that's kind of how I've maneuvered through some of the obstacles in my life, is by being able to read those energies and maneuver in and out of those spaces. So was there ever a time where you like just felt something like that was just like, you knew what it was right away?
Yes. And it's so funny that you asked that, because I have beat myself up so much about that, because I literally know exactly what not to do, but I will still do what is expected of me over what I can literally see not to do. Like, here's a funny story. When my ex-husband, when we didn't have any children, and he asked me, could we have children? I had already established with him when we first met, I don't want any children with you. That's because I knew I didn't belong with him. I knew already, but
wow,
I did it. So we were together and married at this point, and he brought up the children conversation again. And I'm like, dude, why are we having this conversation? Like, I told you when I first met you, no kids, because I knew eventually we would not be together, even though we were married.
Right.
And so he was like, why don't you want to have any kids with me? And I was like, dude, I don't want to be a single mom of 3. And he looked at me and he was like, why would you say 3? When I divorced him, I was a single mom of 3. So yes, I always get the answers, always, for myself and for other people. I have tried to warn other people against things that are exactly going to happen, and they don't listen, and I don't listen to myself, and then I regret it later. So yes, very much that does happen to me all of the time.
That is wild. If you don't mind me asking, what is your astrological sign?
Aries.
Okay. That's dope. I'm gonna just leave that there. I'm not gonna say anything about y'all. I'm not gonna say nothing about y'all. I'm gonna let you have that.
I've heard all the stuff about us. I'm like, look, I can't help my astrological sign. This is what I was intended to be. So look, you just gonna
Nah, it's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong. It's a certain. I mean, there's a certain level of each sign, and to be taken with a grain of salt. Um, each sign has a certain amount of things you can subscribe to, um, that can impact in a good and bad way. So it's not like that. But
Yeah.
there are certain things about your sign that allow you to be more fluid in that way, in that realm of functioning. We're reading
Yes.
energy and picking up on things. So that's all I'm saying that for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now my next question for you, because I want to get off of this topic, because this is a whole separate episode we could do, just about energy. We could do a whole different thing about that. But
Okay.
so to get off that topic, what really, like, what makes you go, like, what makes you like drives your energy now, like what makes you get up in the morning and say, you know what, I want to say this, or I want to do this thing, I want to impact people this way. What triggers that for you?
Honestly, I want it to be like some big phenomenal thing, but I'm literally just on a journey to my own life, like where I'm supposed to be, because I've always felt this weird. I hate to say these kind of things because I know people hear this and they're like, that's weird. But I've always felt like I was in the wrong life, if that makes sense. I'm like, I'm supposed to be over there. How do I get over there? Because I can see myself. I see my house. I see my life. I see my happiness. But it's in that dimension over there. So how do I get out of this one where I'm doing all of this stuff that I don't like? And so when I get up every day, I try to just listen to myself, like we were just talking about, and go towards what I'm feeling for that day. Like this morning, I felt like today I want to not be so serious. And so I put a dance video up on TikTok today. So just doing a quick little dance to the Tanash song or whatever, because that's how I feel today. So it's a day by day thing. It's about how I feel. Some days I feel like I want to give some relationship advice today, or I want to talk some crap about, things that guys do,
Yeah.
or I want to be fun today. So it's still just a part of my journey for myself. And that's what's funny, because I went from, I promise you, 2 weeks ago, I had 54 followers on TikTok 2 weeks ago. And I said, I'm just going to get on here and be myself. And now 2 weeks later, I have 100,000.
That's
A
crazy.
100,000. And I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I didn't do anything.
You
I
know
just
what?
got up
That's
every day and did what I felt like doing. So that's what I'm going to continue to do, because that is what's working for me and for everybody else.
right. That's interesting, because it's like a tie-in to the whole transition that you just spoke about before. Becoming the real Boho Mofo. It's like, I'm gonna call you Nikki. Okay, I've used
Yeah.
that term enough, but I'm gonna call you Nikki now.
Okay.
When you become, it's like phases. So there's just, okay, I'm trying to find myself, and then it's like, oh, okay, I think I found me. And now it's like, okay, I'm finding myself more. Oh, okay, I think I know who I am. Okay, boom, now I'm functioning as myself. Oh, okay, now I'm just, it's levels to this same journey.
Yeah,
And it's like, it's interesting, because people be like, oh, you got to know who you are. It always changes, it always evolves. The
exactly.
parameters of what make you who you are, but you never really fully become until it's over. And I feel like that's like every day, when you said you feel the different energies, and you feel like there's another space where you feel like you resonate more with, it's
Yeah.
different time frame, things like that. um we're going to talk about that offline, because I really want to dive into that, because it's something that I've always had on my heart and in my energies. So we're going to talk about that after this. But um I feel like that is dope, that when you decided to do you, is when you saw the biggest improvements in your personal life, and your following, and all of these things. We're told what to do by so many machines, and I say machines, whether it be family, whether it be work, whether it be friendships. These machines tell us what to do. And then when we say, I'm going to take off all the expectations, I'm just going to do me,
Yes.
we become to feel a flow. And it's this thing called flow state. um the flow state, when you get in the flow state, there's no questions. There's no right or wrong. It's just boom. And you go and you do and you do and you do and you say and you feel and you respond in a mode of. So as a coach, I have a flow state. And when I'm working with a client, when I get in my flow state with them, they love that because they get to get the most authentic answers and the most authentic responses ever. And they're like, wow, you're in the flow. Because once I understand something, it becomes part of who I am. And I
Exactly.
understand it. And I pull information from places I have no idea where I got it from, but it's
Yeah.
100% accurate for that moment. And I
Yes.
think that that's great. So when you begin to take off the limitations of, okay, they want me to be this, or I want to be that, or I used to be this, or I wonder if this is going to work, that's when it's like, okay, well, you wonder, I wonder. The universe is like, if you don't know, I don't know. But
Right.
when you're like, I know what I am today, and the universe is like, okay, let's go get it. And
Right.
so it's really dope when you feel that. And like you said, you're at that level, and it's incredible to watch that journey. Like I went back and watched a lot of them, and I'm like, yo, this person is really, 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 really dope. And I started to see, I can see like when you kind of like had that phase where it was like, you know what, I'm gonna do me. And I started to
Yeah.
see that, and I'm like, yo, this is really a person I gotta talk to. That's why I was like, I need to interview you. I need to have you on here because there's so much more than that 60 seconds can explain to people. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
I
gosh.
need to reach out. And I was like, I don't know if she's going to respond. I don't even care. But my energy was like, say something because there's something different here that you need to connect with. And I feel like that was the right thing to do. And it was just like an instant connection. And even just your response with what you said via email, I'm just like, whoa, okay. I wasn't expecting any of that to be the reason behind the things
Yeah.
you do, and it all aligns perfectly with who I am. And I don't know if you ever read the book The Alchemist, but
No.
okay, I'm going to recommend that book to you.
Okay.
I have the ebook. If you do paperback, I can send you the link to it. But that book has a phrase in the book, and it says, "When you want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it."
I love that.
And that happens with everything. So, like you said, you woke up today and you wanted to do a dance. That dance probably right now is getting crazy responses and crazy hits just because you wanted to give that energy out, and the universe is like, okay, let's share that energy with so many people. And so it's a big deal. It's a big deal to function in the energy that makes you feel most whole and most connected to who you are, because when you connect to yourself, you're connecting to the higher powers in the universe and everything else around you. So um
Yes.
that is dope. That is deep. So I will ask you this question. So there's some questions I told you I would ask you. What is one of the biggest obstacles aside from understanding and stepping into your own self, that building like your brand? What is the obstacle that you face with building your brand?
Um, Honestly, the main, probably the only thing I would consider an obstacle is the fact that I'm a single mom. It's the fact that I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom since I was 21. And I say that including while I was married, because I was never married to anyone who was of any help to me in any way.
Gotcha.
And so having to take care of three children. One is now an adult, so I say three, but my oldest son is 18 and he's out of the house. But and then my youngest is autistic. He's nonverbal autistic, so he needs 24/7 watching and care, and he's loud, and so it's hard to find time. It's hard to find a quiet place. It's impossible to find someone to watch them. I have no support. When I say none, I have zero.
Wow.
My family has never been supportive of each other. It's not even just anything against me. I just don't have one of those families that's like, oh, let me watch your kids. Let me watch.
Yeah.
I've had to pay my family members to watch kids when it was important things that I needed to do. I don't even have people that I can put down. Well, prior to the relationship I'm in now, I didn't have anyone that I could even put down as an emergency contact for my children. I was literally the only contact. So that is my main struggle, is just the lack of support for my personal life and what I need to do. If someone
Wow.
were to call me and say they need me to fly to LA, I'm in California, I'd be stressed out
All right.
because I'd be like, who's going to keep my kids?
Hmm. Wow. That
And
is
I'm
deep.
in California.
Right. It's
So
around, I can't get around the corner because I don't have the help. Wow.
I don't have the help. And I've never had the help. Never.
So
So
how do you maneuver
that's my
through
main.
that? How do you maneuver through that? Or like, I mean, I kind of see, how, some of the things you do is kind of like maneuver through that, but how do you maneuver through that obstacle, and what is it that you find that you move into a swing of doing to kind of like offset that?
I don't do anything but trust God and trust the universe, because I know that if something is meant for me to do, then a path will be made for me to
Yeah.
be able to do that thing. And so a lot of times it's just about waiting, waiting for the answer. Or sometimes the answer is within me and I'll figure it out. So recently I signed up for a service that my son qualifies for because he's autistic, and it's called respite. And so someone will come at least for a few hours, and you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone comes and will watch my son. My other kids don't really need watching as long as someone is home because they're 11 and 12. But when she's here, I can leave. I can
Yeah.
do things that I need to do. It's only for a few hours, but it is a temporary fix to a situation where I otherwise would always have to take my children with me wherever I went.
Yeah.
So I just let little things like that fall into place, because that's how my life kind of works. It's like ever since I've decided who I was and what I wanted to do, things continuously have just fallen into place. And then I've built this level of trust with God and the universe that I never had before,
Wow.
because I was not walking in the path that led to where I was supposed to be. So nothing was going right. Nothing was
Yeah.
going my way. Nothing was going right.
Wow.
But now that it's like that, it's just like, okay,
That is
cool.
incredible. That is incredible. And it's, what's funny to me, and not comical funny, but ironic funny, that this year would be an ideal year for someone like you to follow your dreams, to follow your passion. Like, what better
That part.
year than to be stuck in the house and building your brand than a year that you would need to have someone there with the children if you had to go out the house to build everything you're building right now. Like, I look at 2020 for some people, like this is a lifesaver for some people. As crazy as it is, some people are only functioning right now because of this time that we were able
Yes.
to just say, you know what, if I don't have to leave, I'm not gonna leave.
Yep.
That is wow. I'm as you're talking, I'm the things are dinging in my head. I'm like 2020 was probably one of the best years for that for you.
It definitely is. And
Wow.
that I actually brought that up in a conversation about a month ago. And I said, this is so weird to me, because just last year when I was trying so hard. This was before my change though. I had a friend tell me, you know, no guy is going to want you because you don't even have a job. I have a job. My job is to take care of my 6-year-old. And I actually do get paid for it through IHSS because I'm his caretaker. So I
Mm.
do have a job and it pays just as much as everyone else I know. So, but because I'm at home and not doing anything all day, that's what I was told. No guy's gonna want me. I was like, okay.
Right.
And I was told, well, all your pictures on your social media, you're just in your house. People want to see people who are traveling. People want to see this. People want to see that. You're just, basically like you're boring. And I was like, okay. And I didn't say anything.
That response, I
coming
like that.
coming into 2020, I'm Miss Okay. I say okay to everything. Coming into 2020, I came into the new year with COVID. So I was like, oh, this year is gonna be terrible. Like I felt like I was gonna die, and I'm just like, this is bad. This is a bad sign. And then coronavirus hit. And then 3 months later, after coronavirus took over and shut down everything, I found my own place. I moved out of my uncle's on Coronado Way, which is weird because it has the word Corona in it.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. I see
Right.
what you're doing here. So at that point, I know that's a weird thing, but I pay attention to stuff like that. I was like, this is going to be a good year. actually, because I'm starting to see signs of things. I feel like the universe speaks to me in that way, and it will show me a word, and then it will show me another word that's similar. And it's like it comes together somehow. It'll show me numbers, it'll show me days, it'll show me time periods, and I'll be like, got it.
That's dope.
So I knew at that point that it was going to be a good year. It just was going to be kind of weird, you know? And so I was, you know, chugging along and having an okay time. And I'm like, it could be
Right.
better, but you know, it's a pretty bad year for a lot of people. So I should be thankful, you know?
Yeah.
And then boom, TikTok famous. And I'm like, okay. And then boom, viral on Twitter. And I'm like, wait, what? Hold
Right.
on. I have my kids, they're like texting me, Mom, you have $20,000, you have 30, you have 40, you have 50. I'm like, what? I was like,
Right.
all I said was, we don't do that here.
Right.
So,
That's crazy. It's crazy. What's funny is and I'm gonna jump right back to that question. I mean that statement. Yesterday when I opened my on my Facebook and someone had shared the video that you had put up, and I'm just like, that's so ironic. And so
wow.
after we had talked, that's so ironic. I'm like, but yeah. So it's everything you said is like, and again, these are things I really don't talk about often because it takes a certain level of person to understand the language we're speaking right now.
Yes.
Everything is energy and everything is a flow, and like I said, that quote just speaks to everything you just said. Like when you want something, the universe will, your path will be lined with people and things that have something of value to offer and bring into your life, you know. And I'm not sure if you ever heard of the movie or the book The Secret.
Oh yeah. I've read that one.
So in that book they talk about how you manifest things, and a lot of people think like, okay, think about what I want. And so someone may say, oh, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, but you're really thinking about broke, you're thinking about the negative
Exactly.
of the thing. And so just the same as the universe, when you want something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it. It helps you achieve that those things too, because the universe is in bias, you know. So you say, I don't want an accident. All you're thinking is accident. All the universe hears is accident. All the universe hears is failure. I don't want to fail.
Yep.
The universe hears fail. So when you switch and become, because again, when you're thinking those things, you're thinking in the mode of what other people hold you accountable for, not what
Mhm.
you feel. When you think something, your natural thoughts are, I want this, that childlike imagination. I
Yeah.
want this. And the universe is like, okay, I got that. I can do this better than anybody. But when
Mhm.
you're thinking what other people want you to do, oh, I don't want to fail, I don't want to look bad in front of my friends. The universe, all it hears is look bad in front of your friends. And they
Yep.
find a way to embarrass you in the most amazing way that only universe could do. Like, so you go out with an all white party and spill red juice on your, like something like that happens because this is
Right.
the magnitude that the universe operates on. It only does things big. It
Yeah.
doesn't do small things. And so when you say what you want, you have to be very careful. I just talked
Yeah.
to someone about this yesterday in the episode. Be careful about how you call things into your life. And it sounds like this year when you were like, you know what, I'm going to be quiet, but I feel like this is going to be a good year for me.
Mhm.
The universe was like, "Oh, you want a good year? Oh, I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. Let's
Exactly.
do this. Let's make this happen." Guy, social media, business, interactions, communication with people who can, enhance what you're building on. Like all those things are on a certain path. All you got to do is want that thing and
Yeah.
express what you want. So kudos to you, man, for making it this year be big, and definitely kudos to you for being a single mom, especially a mom of a child with superpowers. I call them superpowers. I don't really call autism a problem, a bad thing. I feel like those are the people who really have the ability to do things that we don't understand. And I think
Yes.
that the world looks at it as a problem because they don't understand it. They have to put it in a box. But I think
Correct.
that those are the people who really make the most impact on the world because they think on frequencies that we don't get.
Yes. Yes.
So kudos to you for that, man. And definitely like that's incredible. And I'm glad you said that piece about being a single mom because there's so many women out here who are looking for guidance. So many men too, like single men too, looking for guidance of how do I maneuver? I got all these responsibilities on me, I got all these things on me. I want to be great, but I want to be amazing, but I want to do this, but you just gotta want it bad enough. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's easy. It's not easy,
No.
but you have to continuously never sway from what you want. And
Correct.
and you just showed that, like, you know what, the universe will make a way, God will make a way for you, you know, one way or another. And at some point in time, it will come to you, you know, as long as you know what you want, as long as you know the path that you want. And it's dope. That's really, really dope. And I'm glad you said that. The next question I have for you, um, the next question that you know about, because I do have some surprise questions. They're not bad, so
Okay.
don't be worried. Um,
Okay.
what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to step into that realm of becoming free from expectations or stepping into a new business or a new venture, and they are nervous or afraid? What advice would you give to them?
First of all, you have to get away from the fear, because the fear will cripple you. The fear will keep you exactly where you're at. You have to stay away from that mindset. Um, Channel whatever is within yourself and try to block out anyone that's giving you advice that's not supportive. Um, because if you take in that advice, you'll wear it, you'll own it, and you'll allow it to become your thoughts, and then that will keep you again in the mind state where you're going to think you can't do it. um Most importantly, you have to be yourself. I've tried multiple times to start up my YouTube, my Instagram. I've deleted it, started over. But every time that I tried it, it didn't work because I was trying to be like someone else. I was trying to be like this, uh, social media person, or I was trying to be like that, or I want to be like that, or I want to be like that. But it wasn't until now that I was like, I'm just going to get on here and do me. And then when I got on there and I did me, it took off because people like me.
Yeah,
And I never believed people liked me. I never believed that before. So you have to feel confident in yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to know what you like. You have to know what you want to do. And you have to listen to your heart and your mind and just go with what that's telling you, because
yeah,
people will like you, but they're not going to like you trying to be somebody else.
that is dope. That might be some of the most amazing and well put advice that I've ever heard, because that happens to people every day. That is dope. Wow. Okay, I might give you an easier question now. I might give you an easier question now. So that's dope. And just to add on that, man, like, don't you're listening to a living example of someone who for so many years lived the way they were supposed to and weren't happy. And for about a year and a half now, you said you've
Yes.
been doing you, and it's been a refreshing feeling. You feel most alive now. You've rebranded yourself. You've become. I don't even want to say you created an image of yourself. You've become you. You know, the you wanted to be, and you've become that. And I can see it. And just to transition of different, like, just even just looking at different videos, looking at just in your eyes is a level of, okay, I'm good. Okay, I got this. Okay, I feel myself, the energy I
Yeah.
feel. And I can see that in people, and I see it in you right now. It's just like this feeling of, you know what? I don't got to figure it all out. But
Nope.
I know it's figured all out already. And that
Exactly.
is and that's such a dope thing. Like, when
Right.
it's that I read that on you, and it's so incredible to see that from someone who, like you said, like, you could have tried to be the perfect person that people want you to be, and that wouldn't be authentic. You know, at some
No.
point, you got to reckon with yourself. That is dope. That's dope. Okay, I'm gonna give you an easy question. This last question is gonna be fairly easy. And
Okay.
if you could associate you and your personality with any kind of animal, what animal would that be, and why?
It would be a cat. And I love cats. That's my favorite animal. And I've always, so funny, I used to pretend to be a cat when I was a little girl. I literally would walk around on all fours. I would pour juice into a saucer and drink it. So that's how much I love cats. I wanted to be a cat. But the reason that I associate with cats is because I feel like, for the most part, cats are chill. They're always calm. They're not worried about anything. They just lay there, they look around, they peep their surroundings, they close their eyes, they take a nap when they want to, they eat when they're hungry, they're clean. It's not an animal you have to like trained to use the bathroom somewhere, like they know what they're doing. They always land on their feet. Can I say that again?
You
They
can say that,
always
yeah.
land on their feet.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how high you toss them up, they're landing on all fours. They're just amazing animals. They're very calming, and that's pretty much it.
That's dope. That's very dope. You had that one ready to go. See, that was you cheated. You cheated. You must saw my notes or something. I don't even have
No,
notes, but you must have saw my
no,
Okay, that's dope. That's
no.
dope. Now let me tell you a really quick funny story. My
Okay.
daughter is 4 and she does that.
She
Like
does.
she actually meows. Like you'll say something to her. She's like, meow. Like what did you just say?
So that's why
And
you
she
laughed
does
when
that.
I
Yes,
said
that's
that.
why I laughed when you said that because she really does that. She will just randomly meow and just crawl through the house. And I'm just like, yo, one day I open her door and she's like on all fours on her desk in her room,
See,
just chilling, just playing with her
look,
toys. Like,
I'm trying to tell you.
and I can't even be mad at it because I was just that weird when I was young. I'm not gonna tell you what I did, but I was just as weird as that when I was younger. So, and I don't even think that's weird. I think that's really just her understanding. Just I can do whatever I want. I can be
Yes,
and feel whatever I want at any given time.
yes.
And she's the most resilient kid ever. Um, like when it comes to just bouncing back from random stuff. Like she just is so. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What you say to me? Meow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna start.
Like,
Oh, you know that's coming in a video. I'm gonna
oh
be
my
like, "What'd you say
gosh.
to me?" Meow.
No. You gotta tag me though. You gotta tag me.
I'm gonna tag
I get
you.
some my royalties for that. Not just playing.
I'm gonna tag
But
you.
no, but it's incredible that you said that though, because again, your whole story, everything you described, everything you said. We talked about the altitude that people put people on when they have that perfect mindset of, or that idea of that person's perfection. That high drop, and you said you land on your feet, and look at where you are, look at what you're doing, and look at what you're building. Like this is nothing compared to where you're going. You know what I mean? Like this is the beginning of so many things. This is I'm we're talking at ground zero right now.
Yes. Yes.
So and that's the dope part about it is that I'm seeing so so many amazing things, and like hearing about your son like that to me, my head is still wrapping around that. Like whenever I hear someone who has a child that has autism, in my brain I'm just like, man, like I want to know what that child is thinking. I want to know what that child is feeling, like the process, how they're processing all the stimuli around them. Like and those that to me, I think is one of the most incredible mysteries of our world. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the people who don't say what they feel, but probably feel more than any of us.
Yes.
What is it that they're feeling? What is it that they're
Right.
thinking? And that always made me just really intrigued. So kudos to you. I know it's a lot of work, like you said, it's a lot of work because it's work. It's work. It's a child, number one, and then number two, it's a child that you have to be different when you interact with. You have to treat it
Yeah.
differently. So, that is dope, though. That is dope, though, and it's very dope. I'm glad you were able to spend the time and come on the podcast with me today, and make this happen. Lastly, I'm going to ask you this question, but this is like a random question that ties into your stuff. 10 years from now, right? Where is Nikki, aka the Boho Mofo? Where is Nikki at in 10 years?
Wow. That's a good one. Now you got me on that one. That one's so hard. I don't like to really I'm not a goal setter. And I know that might sound weird to somebody, but it has always annoyed me when people be like, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because I feel that's very limiting.
Mhm.
Because if I do that, if I say that, then I'm putting that out in the universe. And what if that's not the plan? You know what I mean?
I
So
like
I'm not
that.
that person that's like, in 10 years, I want to be this. So in 10 years, all I want to be is happy.
Good
I want to
answer.
be happy. I
I
want
like
to be
that.
successful. I want to have created something that I can pass down to my children. I want my children to be okay. I want to have made an impact on the world in a positive way. I want to contribute in a positive way to everything that's going on, from racism to colorism to prejudice to the lack of availability of resources for Black people and Black communities and low income housing, and just all of the stuff that's unfair. I want to somehow figure out how to contribute to it in some way and make it better. That's all I really care about, because I just want to be happy and I want to see other people happy. That's it.
That's dope. I like that. I like that. That's a great 10-year plan though. That's an amazing, that's one of the best 10-year plans. I like how you did that though. I like how you flip that question into a non-question, non-answer. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's
So
an
that's
answer without an answer.
okay. So the next part of that question is, how can people follow that journey? How can people stay tuned to the next 10 years of unpredictable happiness and wealth building and generational success? How can people follow you?
Meaning my websites and stuff?
Yeah, everything.
Oh,
Everything. How can they get in
um,
touch with you? All of that.
so what I have is I have my Instagram, which is just the real Boho Mofo, same handle as on my TikTok. My Twitter is just real Boho Mofo. Some reason they took the off. Um, and so those are my three. I do also have my email listed on my Instagram, but it is nikaylajones21@gmail.com. So that's another way that you can get a hold of me. So, and that's what I have for now until you help me out with a website.
Got you. I got you. No problem. That's on the way. So now, do you have a YouTube?
I do have a YouTube. I'm sorry. It's also the real Boho Mofo. And I just
Okay.
started that one. Well, I created it earlier this year, but I just started really uploading the other day.
Okay.
So
So
it
that's
only
not
has a
that's
couple of
not
videos.
all right.
Yeah, not a lot of subscribers there and just a couple of videos, but I made a video day before yesterday to try to, drive some people towards that, because a lot of people ask me about like my skincare routine, my workout routine, and what lipstick I have on and makeup and just different stuff like that. So instead of me replying to comments, because there's like thousands, one by one, I just make videos for the questions that I get and I answer those on my YouTube.
That's dope. It's very, very dope. Well, you know how to contact her. And she's dropped some important, valuable information. And if you have more questions about what we talked about today, please feel free to reach out to her. She's very cool, very friendly. There's no perfect people, just perfect scenarios in this imperfect world. So we are signing off, but I want to thank you all. And as always, be dope and be great. Peace.
Bye.